Hey folks, welcome back to another video. Join me at a different spot to normal, Craig Rundeb, which is the other side of the lake, not miles away. Normal spots over there, just a little bit closer to home. Nice bit of evening light catching the hills down there out of the side of the lake. There's people swimming, walking, paddle boarding, boys guarding the stuff over there. Today's video, Purcell Prusiks. People ask me questions about these all the time and I've never done a video mentioning them before, so today is the day. So you'll join me in a second finding a sheltered spot and I'll chat through them. Before I talk about the Purcell Prusik, I thought I'd just show you this. Some of you will have seen one of these before, a Taz Love 2, this one. I've been using it a little bit for some top rope solo stuff lately because I've got a project in the past I've been trying, and when I'm working trad stuff it's nice sometimes not to have to get someone to endure me dangling on a route for ages, trying the same move again and again and again. So it's quite nice, the route. You can drop a rope down it real easy and go up and down it and dangle around till your heart's content. So I've started the video, but I want to do a bit more with it before I put it out there. So keep your eyes peeled if that's something that's of interest, because I often get questions whenever I mention something to do with top rope soloing. The Purcell Prusik, it's a means of attaching yourself to anchors, and it's an adjustable way of doing it. That sounds great, doesn't it? It's also really cheap. That sounds great too. Normally it's not something I use, right? I did a video the other day that prompted me to do this video because I talked about lanyards, whether we need one or not. I talked about the Kong slide, £4, cheap, add a bit of rope that you might have lying around in your kind of kit cupboard and stuff, adjustable, cheap, not the nicest thing to adjust, but it works. I used one for years. These days I use the Purcell Connect Adjust, more money, about £35, much nicer to pull in and out. It makes the Kong seem really stiff and not so nice to use. We could have, of course, just use a sling and improvise, but that's got its downsides, harder to adjust of course, and not good at taking any kind of dynamic load. Not that I want to really jump up and down on them either. People always mention the Purcell Prusik when I talk about lanyards and whether I like it or not. I'll come on to that in a minute, but first off, we've got to know how to tie one, haven't we? So the first bit I'll do is, as that focuses slowly but surely, I'll join two ends of cord together with a double fisherman's and keep it nice and neat. I want the tails about 4 fingers long as well. Once it's tied, I want the cord to be like an arm span. I offset the double fisherman's. You could use an overhand for that as well, because this is like a semi-permanent thing I'm tying. I like the fact that the double fisherman sort of tightens and tightens the more you pull it in this direction. In a moment I would lark's foot this to my harness, so I want like a hand span there, which I've got, so that's good. I pull that cord through till I get to the other end, and this is the cruxy bit of this whole affair. Get the middle, put your hand through it. I've stuck my fingers out. You're going to wrap around your thumb once, twice, 3 times. You can hold that there for a minute. You're going to do the same with your little finger. Once, twice, 3 times, and then join them together. You can see I've got some wraps around my finger and thumb. I'm going to loop that over everything. So I've basically got a Prusik there, haven't I? Just tied, not really around anything other than my thumb and finger. Loosen that off. So I've got a hole in it now, so I can put something through it. Or I could until I tightened it up again. Get your end that's got the double fisherman's in it, and you're going to poke it through. Try not to lose the Prusik as you do it. Not too worried about it being remotely neat yet, because look at it, it's a mess, isn't it? And that's fine, it stays a mess for a minute longer. I've now got that bit through. Look at that messy thing. What I do now though is I put my foot through it and I pull it all. I tighten it all up, and you can see it's starting to look like a Prusik now, but it's still looking like a messy Prusik. So what I do is I just get all the strands where they should be, and then I check I've got the right amount of loops. 1, 2, 3 on either side, so that's good. And it just looks like a classic Prusik. It's just around itself, isn't it? That's the difference. Just tighten that up properly now. Get that super neat. There we go. My hand span bit down here that I talked about a minute ago, that's just gonna lark's foot into my harness, girth hitch, you want to call it that, same thing, isn't it? I've now got an adjustable lanyard. I can shorten it, clip there, I can lengthen it all the way up there. I want the full length to really be just about in reach. okay, because if it's out of reach then it's hard for me to unclip and stuff, so I wouldn't normally want that. Normally it's going to be used much shorter. I've kind of got this join a little bit wrong here. I could just get that double fisherman's a little bit closer to my harness, and then I can shorten it just that little bit more. So with a bit of wiggling these things round, there we go, you can mess with the lengths a little bit and get them exactly where you want them. So by the time you've shortened it, you can be quite close to the anchors. I can't get quite as close as I can with like the Purcell Connect. The Purcell Connect, I can be right up to here on it, so I kind of like that. But like I say, you can mess around with the entire length of this to get it fine-tuned to where you want it. So what do I like about it? It's light, isn't it? It probably is a fraction lighter than this stuff. I haven't weighed it, but it must be, because there's no metal and it's skinny cord. I like that. I like the fact it's really easy to adjust. Like, might even be smoother than a Purcell Connect adjust, which is saying something. I like the fact that you can, if you're weighting it, if there was like 2 people on it in a rescue situation, I think it would grip too much for this. But if you're just weighting it a little bit, you can still extend it. You can't tighten it, you have to unweight it a bit to pull it tighter and adjust it. But I like that about it. I like the fact it's pretty cheap, but then, you know, so is the Kong slide. I like the fact that actually you're probably going to tie this at home, aren't you? You're not going to tie it like hanging one-handed off a hold and tying this to attach to something. That would be pretty epic. If you could do that, send us a video. But the reverse, you could take it apart quite easily, couldn't you, and use it as tack to link a couple of pieces of kit to abseil off, to bail off a route or something like that. Or perhaps you're on that multi-pitch sport route and some anchors aren't linked and you want them to be linked, some bolts or something like that. So you've got a few options, haven't you? So it is a little bit more multi-purpose perhaps than one of these lanyards. You could do something with the Kong slide, couldn't you? But you haven't got a lot of rope really, because this is all doubled up. You've actually got quite a lot of cord there. The Connect adjuster would be pretty useless for that, and you wouldn't want to leave flipping £35 worth of stuff there either. So there's a few advantages to it. Things I don't like, I do find it a little bit messy, if I'm honest. It's just because there's 2 strands basically and 4 strands up at this end. You can still wrap it around your body to carry it, can't you? If you're going to be using it regularly, carry it there, untangle it, clip it, away you go each time you get to an anchor. It's pretty neat that way. If you weren't planning on using it and you're going to carry it like on the back of your harness, it's a little bit messy, but perhaps you're not going to do that anyway. I find this kind of cord, it does like to twist and kink, and it's a little bit stiff. This is just cheapo Decathlon stuff, so you can buy some nicer stuff. This is 6mm cord, right? You could definitely do this with 7mm cord. It would be stronger, right? That's pretty factual. You can get cord that is stronger than this normal accessory cord. I think Blue Water do some stuff like that. Sterling, I think, actually, at least in the States, because I don't think we can get Sterling here normally, they do one that is like sewn here, like a proper sewn termination, a bit like the Purcell Connect, and then it's pre-done as a Purcell Prusik. I mean, that's not a bad idea. I just, again, can't really see that I would do that over a Purcell Connect or Kong slide or Camp, whatever they're called, the other options. Strength-wise, it's strong enough. It's not as strong as the Purcell Connect. I think the Purcell Connect has to be, or to be classed as a lanyard and meet the kind of requirements that I think has to be 15 kilonewtons or more. It's pretty strong, that, isn't it? I've seen quite a few tests of the Purcell Prusik. It depends a bit on the type of test, but it's probably breaking somewhere around 8 kilonewtons. I've seen stuff down to 7, maybe a little bit higher as well, but somewhere around 8 kilonewtons. It's pretty strong, isn't it, right? It's not as strong as one of those proper Gucci things, though. One possible advantage is when you weight it, it will slip. The Prusik will slip a bit at some force, depending on, again, the tests that I've seen, somewhere perhaps around 4 kilonewtons. That could be a good thing, though. That could be a bit of shock absorption, actually, should you take a fall onto it. But I don't really want to be falling on any of these lanyard systems, okay? It's just not really what they're for, is it? But that might be an advantage. Am I going to sack off my Purcell Connect for work and stuff for this bit of cord? No, I'm not. do some people love it? Yeah, they do, or at least in my comments they seem to anyway. Put in the comments below why you like or dislike this cord setup, the Purcell Prusik setup. I'd be really keen to hear your thoughts on it. It's a nice one to know, and it's an interesting one to play with, so if you've never tried it, try it. It's like, it's cheap as chips really to buy some cord if you haven't already got some. And I made a couple of Prusiks out of the sort of spare once I'd cut that as well, so you know, you're not at a loss. You can use it for some tat or something afterwards, can't you, if you need any of that. But yeah, fire away in the comments with questions as well as your comments. I'm always happy to read them. Big thanks for watching. I hope it's been of some use and interest. The dog's rolling around over there chewing a stick. He's got an excited look in his eye. He's going to leg it around in a minute for sure. He's making some funny noises as well. Click the like button, smash the subscribe button, find us on Insta, find us on Facebook, use the Buy Me a Coffee link. All the support, massively appreciated. I know I say it every time, I'm going to keep saying it every time. I've got that waffle pretty dialed. As always though, massive thanks for watching. I thought he was going to come and join me for that bit, but he's, oh yeah, he will do, there we go, he's coming as well. Massive thanks for watching, more videos coming up very soon.